Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's episode of the Passion to Profits podcast. Now, in today's podcast episode, I want to talk about the topic of regret and why you will never regret taking action. Now, maybe right now you're probably thinking to yourself, well, I will regret taking action because if I record a podcast episode and no one listens to it, it's going to be embarrassing. What if I record a video and no one watches it? What if I write a blog post and no one reads it? That's going to be embarrassing. And you're probably thinking that this fear of failure, this fear of embarrassment, this fear that you're just wasting your time is huge. But I'm here to tell you that this, although it might seem huge, is nothing compared to the amount of regret you're going to have in the future. When you're going to be at some point in the future, you're going to look back and say, I should have written that book. I should have made those videos. I should have tried to build that online business. And you're going to find at that moment in the future that you can't change it. You're just left with the results of what you've done or haven't done in the present moment. You're not going to have a time machine and be able to go back and change the younger version of you or convince the younger version of you to take action. Now, I know in my own case, I know what it's like to have regrets. And I know that when I come to the end of my life, I will probably have things I look back on and say to myself, I should have changed that. But what I want to do is I want to leave as little huge regrets as I can in my life. And the reason I want to do that is because I already have a big regret that I can't change. And at the time, it was something that I could have just simply taken action on, and I would have not had this huge regret that I have now on my shoulders. Now, this regret is something that I should have done many years back. Now, what happened was, it's a bit of a personal story, but what happened was there was a friend of mine who was diagnosed with cancer and who hadn't long to live. And his partner rang me up and said, Barry, would you go and see James? Because he hasn't got long to live and he'd like to see you. Now, at the time, I was scared. I didn't know what I was going to say. I knew that I was going to be uncomfortable. I didn't want to accept the fact that he hadn't long to live. And I just couldn't face it. And to me, this moment was huge. And I just couldn't take action and do it. And unfortunately, he passed away. And I never had a chance to see him before he passed away. And although this was huge, the amount of regret I have right now is massive compared to this moment. And that is something that I remember. And that's something that I tell myself again and again. Do I want more moments of huge regret? Or do I want to nip it in the bud right now by taking action? And that's why I'm recording this podcast episode, is to hopefully not allow you to have those moments in regret of pushing you through this little moment, which again might seem huge, but which is little. So if I can force you to take action, if I can wake you up, if I can make you realize that if you don't take action, this is what's up ahead, hopefully I've done my job. And this is something that I remind myself, that if I don't take action, if I don't get outside my comfort zone, if I don't do things that could possibly lead to failure, well then I'm going to have another moment in regret. And I don't want to have another moment of regret if I can nip it in the bud right now. You know, when it comes to us taking action, again, the reason we probably don't take action are because we think that this thing that we're about to do could blow up in our face, could go all wrong, is because we think, well, it's going to be a failure. And unfortunately, we see things as either a success or a failure. It's one or the other, that there's no kind of grey area in the middle. And I think the word failure has a lot of kind of negativity in our head. We don't want to fail. And maybe to help you through this moment that you might think is difficult right now is to toss away the word failure and put in the word or the words learning opportunity. Because every time you make a mistake, every time something doesn't work out, it's a learning opportunity for you because you're going to learn something from that attempt that you made. It's not going to be a failure. You will be able to look in the ashes of that failure and find something good from it. You might find something about yourself. You might find something about the thing that you're about to do. And then what you simply do is you take this new knowledge that you have about yourself or the thing that you did and you go back and do another attempt and then another attempt and another attempt. And each time you go back again and again and again, you are gathering knowledge so that you are actually getting better. And what you're doing is you are putting the odds in your favor of you being successful because you're using these so-called failures as a learning experience. And then you're taking this into the next attempts. Now, as adults, unfortunately, I don't know why, but we look into the future and we don't want to make any more failures. We want to go here safely to the grave with making as little amount of failures as possible, as little amount of embarrassment as possible, not realizing that we've always been a failure. When you look back from where you are right now, since you were a baby, your life has been just filled with failures. When you think back to the baby version of you couldn't stand up, you couldn't walk, you couldn't talk, you couldn't take care of yourself. And the fact that you can do those things right now means that the younger version of you was prepared to fail again and again and again. The first time you stood up and fell over, you learned something about that attempt. And then what you did was the second time you stood up, you tried something else and you tried something else. And then eventually you were able to stand up. And we did the same for walking. We did the same for talking. We did the same for learning how to feed ourselves, riding a bike. And all those moments in our life are filled with failures. And if we had looked at those failures as failures right now, you would just be sitting in the corner, not able to walk, not able to talk, and not being able to feed yourself. So the fact that you can actually do that is thanks to the younger version of you who wasn't afraid of failing and seeing those failures as a learning opportunity. And that is what you need to do too, is you need to look at any possible failures or the fear of failure as just simply a learning experience, and that you're going to learn something from it. And then that when you do have this learning experience, you can take it into the next attempt and the next attempt. You need to realize as well too that action is going to build confidence in yourself. We stupidly believe that if we're going to record a video, the only way we're going to record a video is when we feel confident in ourselves, when we have loads of self-belief, and that we know what we're going to do. That never happens. You're never going to have a magical moment in the future where all those boxes are going to be ticked off. Your first video is going to be with you not feeling confident, not believing in yourself, and not knowing what you're going to do. And what you're going to find is as you record video after video after video, you're suddenly going to build some self-belief in yourself. You're going to build some confidence in yourself. And you are going to see this recording videos as something that's possible for you, that you're able to do it. But it's only by you taking the same actions again and again and again and again, even though you're not confident, even though you've got no belief, even though you don't know what you're doing. But it's by taking those actions that you're going to build the confidence in yourself. Now, the reason I know that is because that has been my journey. I didn't believe in myself when I recorded my first video. I didn't have confidence. I didn't know what I was doing. But over time, as I've done more and more of these videos, I have built more confidence in myself. I know more about what I'm doing and I'm growing. And you're going to find that as well too, that you need to realize that if you want the confidence, if you want the self-belief, if you want to know what you're doing, that only happens when you're taking action. Now, what you need to realize as well too is that success starts with a single step. When we look at autobiographies or biographies of people that we admire, you find that wherever they are right now, if we go back in time, it started off with one simple step. And that one simple step usually started off with a thought where someone said, I wonder can I design clothes? I wonder can I be an artist? I wonder can I make movies? I wonder can I build a factory? And from that thought, from that person taking the first step, that led them to where they are right now. But again, when it comes to the journeys that we're about to take, we say to ourselves, well, the only reason I'm going to take action is when I know all the steps. When I know that I'm on A, when I know all the steps from A to Z, well, then I'll take action because I'll know what I should be doing. And you're going to find that on your journey, you are going to learn on the job. You're going to learn what works, you're going to learn what not works, and you are going to start moving your little kind of journey to suit what happens. Take these videos here, for example. Now I can record this video. Well, as I'm recording this video as a video and a podcast episode, I don't know what's going to happen next. Is this channel going to be successful? Am I going to be popular as a podcaster? Now, the only reason I'm going to know that is by me recording videos and putting podcast episodes up. And what I'm doing is, I don't know the Z point yet. I'm probably only maybe on the C or D point. But what I'm doing is I am testing out different things. Now, I could find that maybe the videos are more popular than the podcast episodes. And then so what I do is I just stop doing the podcast episodes and focus on the videos. And that's going to be the same for you in your little journey. That when you take action, you're going to see things that work, some things that don't work. And what you do is you simply lean into the things that work. That's going to take you on a certain route. And eventually, when you do reach this successful point in the future, you'll be able to look back and you'll be able to see where A went to B and B went to C and C went to D. But right now, you're not going to see that. You're stepping into the unknown. Again, as I'm stepping in here into the unknown, I don't know what I'll be doing in 6 months from now. I don't know what's going to happen here in 12 months from now. I might find that maybe I mightn't be doing videos. I mightn't be doing podcasts. I could maybe be blogging. I could be doing something else. But the only reason I'm going to work out my next step is by taking action, is by walking into the unknown and then see what happens. See what works, see what doesn't, and then follow the next step. So just because you don't know the full route yet, it doesn't mean that you need to know it. And again, if you look at all these biographies and famous people, you're going to find that for a long time, they were kind of walking around in the dark, not knowing what they were doing. They just had a brain fart of an idea, or maybe they listened to a conversation and took this bit of a conversation and ran with it, or ran with this idea, or something crazy that everybody else said maybe they couldn't do, and they just went off and did it. So don't think that you need to know all the steps, or that by taking action and not knowing what you're doing next means that there's something wrong with you, or that you're not going to be successful. Some of the most successful people went on an unknown journey, but continued going on that journey until they got to where they wanted to get to. Now, what I'd say to you as well too is you need to change your mindset. Again, when we go back to why you don't take action, because you're going to regret it, it's because we go into it with this mindset of what if. What if I record this video and no one watches it? What if I record this podcast episode and no one listens to it? What if I write a blog post and no one reads it? And what we do is we simply focus on the negative. Now, can you imagine, are you going to do your best work if you focus on the negative? If I am going to record a video and I'm thinking to myself, this isn't going to work out. It's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. This is going to be a terrible video. Am I building myself up to give you a good video? Of course I'm not. But what you need to do is you need to flip it the opposite way. And you need to say to yourself, what if this video was popular? What if this blog post was something that a lot of people read? What if it went viral? What if this website, this blog that I'm building, suddenly become $1 million business? What if? And by actually thinking what if, it's actually going to give you more belief in yourself. It's going to give you more confidence. Now, you might say to yourself, well, how the hell do I know if it's going to be successful or not? I'm just kind of guessing. But really, do you think everything is going to be disastrous? If you're thinking this is going to go wrong, you're going to find that sometimes some things do work out. Maybe the odds mightn't be 50-50, but you will do something that will be successful. So instead of thinking that everything is not going to be successful, you need to change your mindset. You need to be positive. And by being positive, you are going to create your best content. You're going to give it your best shot. You're going to put all your effort into it because you are hoping that it's going to be successful. But if you come at it with a negative mindset, you're not going to do your best work. So you need to change the mindset. Instead of thinking, what if this goes wrong? You need to think, what if this goes right? And then take that step into the unknown. Now, what I'd say to you as well too is that by you stepping into the unknown, it's going to build character in you. Life is going to test you. Life wants to know, are you ready for success? You would never give somebody who had never driven a car before, you'd never give them the keys of a Lamborghini, because you can be guaranteed that either wrapping around a lamppost or they'll be dead 100 yards down the road because they'd crashed the car, because they weren't suited to drive a car like that. And life sometimes wants to test us. It wants to see, if I give this person, this audience, if I give them this person this money, will they be successful in holding on to it? Even though you might think, well, yes, I'm ready right now for a huge audience on social media. I am ready to have $1 million handed to me. I'm ready to have all that success given to me. But seriously, think about it for a moment and be honest with yourself. How long do you think you would hold on to that audience? How long do you think you would hold on to that cash? How long do you think you'd be successful before it all just slipped through your fingers? And the reason it would slip through your fingers is because you weren't the right person to hold on to that success. And sometimes life tests us. Sometimes life wants to know, does this person really want what they say they want? They're telling everybody, well, I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to have a huge social media following on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. But life sometimes wants to see, well, is that really true? Are you really willing to put the work in? Are you really willing to create a lot of content without anybody watching it, without anyone paying attention to you? Are you willing to do a lot of stuff for free until the money kicks in? Again, most people won't. And that is because that they want it now. But if it is given to them right now, they're just going to lose it all. They'll lose the audience, they'll lose the cash, they'll lose the business, and it's just wasted on them. So realize that by actually, being willing to take action, stepping into the unknown, stepping into moments where you could, have a failure, embarrass yourself, waste your time, it's going to build character in you. And as I said, you need to look at it as not a failure, that it's a learning opportunity. And if nothing comes from it, you can take this new character that you have, the new perseverance, the new confidence that you have, you can take that into another opportunity. So it's never going to be you in the second opportunity. It's going to be you with all that knowledge, all that experience, all that character in the second attempt. And you're probably going to find you're probably going to be more successful in that second attempt because of all the characteristics you developed while you were supposedly having those failures. So remember, we like to think that we're going to regret not taking action. But you will probably find that the opposite is actually true. That when you come to the end of your life, you're going to say to yourself, you know something? I could have had that successful YouTube channel if I made all the videos. I could have been as successful as that podcaster if I had just had stuck with it and recorded those episodes. I could have had financial freedom. I could have had a business where I was working with a laptop on the beach and traveling all over the world if I just had stuck with it, if I just had the courage to do it. Now, right now, this, as I said, might seem like a big, huge deal. It's scary, you're afraid, you don't know what's going to happen next. But compared to this huge amount of regret that you possibly will have in the future, this is tiny. So see it that way. See it as tiny compared to what you could be missing out on. And as I said, that's one reason why I create as much content as I do, is because I am willing to push myself through these moments because I don't want to have those huge regrets in my life. As always, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. If you have any thoughts, comments, please feel free to leave them below this episode. And if you would like to find out more of what I do, if you go over to our website, that is Writecom, that's WRITECOME.com. And if you click on the show notes of this episode, what you can do is you can pick up a free report where I'm going to show you 10 ways that you can make money from your skills. So as always, have a great day. Bye-bye.